Hello and welcome to this how to play video of the introductory campaign to Survive Alive. The game is for 1 to 4 players and plays in 20 to 30 minutes. The aim of this game is to gain influence points by building a thriving growing community by spending resources to construct facilities, recruit characters and build defences to withstand 3 rounds of Z attacks. The game ends after 3 rounds and the player with the most influence points at the end of the game wins. Setup. Place all cubes into the black bag and place this in the middle of the playing area next to shuffled down event cards and moon tokens. Select a first player. This is normally the most recent person to watch a post-apocalyptic movie. The first player takes the first player marker. Each player takes a forest-based sheet, a marker and a player aid. Shuffle and deal the character cards to the first player. In a 1 to 2 player game this will be 3 cards, in a 3 player game this will be 4 cards, in a 4 player game this will be 5 cards. The first player then selects the character they wish to take and places this next to their playing area. You then pass the rest of the cards clockwise to the next player on their left. If this is a solo game, the other cards just go to the bottom of the character card deck. Each player writes the names in the space provided and each player collects the resources as depicted on the character card. Each round is split into 5 phases, which can be followed on the back of the player aid. The phases are receive resource cubes, spend resource cubes, discard resource cubes, draw event card or cards, and round end and clean up. In phase 1, players will receive resource cubes from the last event card played, characters gained through event cards, storage space in their facility, radio and food or herb gardens built in their facility. In phase 2, players will spend their resource cubes to build facilities to protect the base, gain health and improve morale. To build a facility, pay the indicated cost to the supply bag and shade in the box inside the facility. In this case, if we wanted to build this watchtower, we would pay 2 wood, 1 metal and 1 brick. We would pay these back into supply and shade in the box to indicate we have built this. We will now run through all the facilities. First is barricades. Building barricades adds 1 shield strength to the side of the base it is built on. Watchtowers add 2 shields to each adjacent side. So for example, if we built this watchtower, it would add 2 strength to this side and 2 strength to that side. Once a watchtower is built, a player may look at the top event cards that are due that round to see where the attacks are coming from. Food and herb gardens will produce yellow and green cubes respectively. Baths and beds will be used on the round end for each character. At any point on a turn, a player may trade any 4 resources in for 1 to gain 1 that they wish. If a player builds a radio, this reduces trade ratio down to 3 to 1. They may gain extra resources on round end. A command centre reduces the trade ratio further for 2 to 1, and they may gain a character on an event card. Storage is built here. As you can see, you start with 1 storage, and this may store resource cubes on the end of the game. To store a resource cube, place a cube on the storage to indicate we can use this next round. Drawn from the bag may be a black resource. If a black resource is pulled, this is used as a wild resource on anything. In phase 3, we discard any remaining resources to the supply bag unless they can be placed in storage. So have 1 in storage, the rest must go back to the supply bag. In phase 4, event cards are drawn, which are split into 3 or 4 steps. Number of event cards to be drawn is indicated by a table in the top right of the player's base sheet. As you see, in round 1 and 2, only 1 card will be drawn. In rounds 3, 2 cards will be drawn. When an event card is drawn, players will work out the side it will attack and the strength. So for example, this is 4 zombies plus the round number. If it was in round 1, this means it will be 5 attacking the south side. To be successful, a player needs 5 shields to defeat the zombies. If they have 5 shields, they will mark their defense tracker. If all characters in their base were wound free, they'll mark their health tracker. If the player is unsuccessful because they do not have enough shields to defend the zombies, they may receive wounds on their characters or their characters may die. If the deficit is between 1 and 4, they will receive a wound on their character. This means the character can no longer use their ability. To remove the wound from the character, it will cost 3 green cubes. If the deficit is 4 or more, then the character dies and gets placed underneath the character stack. In this example, the strength is 5 from the scythe in round 1, and the player only has 2 shields. This is a deficit of 3, so the character will get 1 wound. If a character dies and takes a player down to 0 characters, then they will draw another character at the end of the event card and gain any 4 resources depicted on that card. Step 2 of the event card is to receive the amount of resources shown in the bag, which in this case will be 10. Step 3 of the event card is receiving resources for a specific character count. So in this case, for having 1 character only, a player will receive 7 extra resources. For having 2 characters only, a player will receive 4 extra resources. In step 4, if a player has built a command center, they will receive a character. When they receive a character, take the top character from the deck, choose any 4 resources depicted on the card, and get to choose whether they want to take that character or not. If they take the character, they will place this in their play area and write the name in the slot. If they choose to reject the character, they still keep the resources, but the character is placed at the bottom of the character deck. If a player has no characters at this stage, they will draw a character card from the top of the deck and pick any 4 resources depicted. Once the event card has been resolved, the round end will commence. Players will produce food and herbs for the gardens they have built. If they have built a radio, they'll gain 3 extra resources. If a character can be fed, bathed and bed, then they will gain morale points on the tracker. If 1 or more characters are missing one of the 3 requirements, do not mark the morale tracker. If 1 or more characters are missing 2 of the 3 requirements, they will lose a resource for each character missing 2 of the 3 requirements. Then shuffle the event cards, shade out the round just played, and pass the first player token clockwise if applicable. As you may notice, in round 3, 2 event cards are drawn. As this is the last round, this is how it is played. Draw the top card and deal with step 1 only. Draw the second card and deal with step 1 only. Once these have been dealt with, move on to final scoring. Final scoring works as so. Points for the amount of characters alive at the end of the game. Points for defending your base. Points for how far you are on the health tracker. And points for how far you are on the morale tracker. Also, players will score 1 point per stored good in a storage unit. Total these up and this will be your final score. The winner is the player with the most influence points. If this is a tie, the player with the most characters alive wins. If this is a tie, player who is high on the defense tracker wins. If this is a tie, players share the victory. That is a how to play video of the introductory scenario of Survive Alive. Thank you for watching.